saw Ian Ferguson today. Saw Ian Ferguson, Ian Ferguson who scored against Dundee United for us in the League Cup final. Was it 1984? The second of the two League Cup finals we played in the calendar year, 1984. Jock Walsh's Rangers beating Celtic 3-2. Alan McCoy's hat-trick in the original pinstripes, the original pinstripe home top at the end of 83-84 season, beginning of 84-85 season. A Drichty at Hampden, Ian Ferguson scores the only goal of the game, and at the Rangers end, cracking goal actually if you watch it back on YouTube, and more famous of course for scoring against Borussia Mönchengladbach for Dundee United in the UEFA Cup semi-final, and against Barcelona in the new camp for Dundee United, for Hearts against Bayern München, FC Bayern. Scored 2 goals in the first European match I ever attended against Inter, the most famous defence in the world. Well, not really, not that particular Inter team, but Alessandro Altobelli scored in that game, and he scored in the World Cup final in 1982. And there's Ian Ferguson, no Fergie that came and won 25 league titles with us. Ian Ferguson that never won a league title with us, but he won Scottish Cup with Motherwell. And 87, there's a lager called 87 Lager, must be Dundee United, must be a local thing, a Dundee lager. You can see it's on the sleeve of the Dundee United kits tonight, and the tangerine in black. And I'm thinking, it was a great year for us, 1987, 86, 87 season, but Dundee United, they won the league in 83. I think they want to call it 83 lager, but of course 87 they get to the UEFA Cup final. It's just getting to a UEFA Cup final for a European, for a Scottish team getting to a European final these days is a magical achievement. You wouldn't want to get rid of the managers who get you to European finals. But for 87 lager, I'm thinking, what does it start off really promising and then it goes really flat at the end? No, because they lost the Scottish Cup. Lost the Scottish Cup final that Ian Ferguson that I saw the day in John Lewis in the Toon in the Buchanan Galleries. I was in Buchanan just coming out. I'll talk about that later. It was sad, not sad news stuff. Just because I was feeling a bit sad. We're walking out with my wife, and there's a guy sitting in the perfume department. Maybe his missus was away getting some perfume or whatever, and there's a wee seat there, and he's just sitting. I've been there a few times myself, Christmas time, flustered and all that, lost, because he's right next to the kind of watches and all that as well, women's watches and things, and he's thinking, what can I get her for Christmas? But Ian Ferguson was sitting there and just looking down, going, I recognise that fella. But I don't know if I know him to say hello to, and then just kind of walk past him, like, oh, that's Ian Ferguson. He probably heard me saying, that's Ian Ferguson. He's thinking, why don't you come over and talk to me? I'm thinking, well, what's your loyalty lie in the night, Ian, because Friday night used to be Monkey on a Friday night, Monkey magic, no, Monkey. I absolutely loved Monkey when I was a kid. Rent-A-Ghost, was Rent-A-Ghost a Friday? On BBC Kids programmes, Rent-A-Ghost, Mr. Claypole and all that. I feel as if I loved Rent-A-Ghost. I always get a kind of lovely, warm, nostalgic, safe feeling when I think about Rent-A-Ghost and Monkey, one of the kids' TV programmes that used to be on there. When Friday nights were fun, when Friday night television was a good thing. I remember, but I don't know if at the time I liked it, but it's one of the things, just kids' TV, you're limited in the things you could watch in the days. So I would just watch it because it was on. I'm like, oh, ghosts and all that. It's a bit stupid. I liked war stuff, that's just a stereotypical young kind of heterosexual boy or whatever you want. I don't mean heterosexual men have got to be into different. I don't have time for that tonight. Things are complicated enough. I don't have time to try and cover all the bases. But it was Rent-A-Ghost and Battle. Was Battle, I think, was on the fight. This thing used to be about commandos or American Marines. I think it was American Marines in the Second World War. I never got to see it. I think the $6 Million Man, the Bionic Man, Steve Austin, I think that was a Friday night on the telly. And there's this thing, Battle, it was on late on in a Friday, maybe just getting towards midnight, and I never got allowed to stay up and watch that, and the boys at school in my class would tell me about it, and I was the one that was right into the Second World War, I was the one that was into the Second World War. I had all the airfix stuff and all that, and I could tell you, I think I must have saw it once or twice. I think it was called Battle, just a bunch of. It was set in the Second World War, but it's made in the 70s, and it's all guys kind of about maybe after the D-Day landings as they worked their way into towards Berlin, and they were having various adventures and things like that. You know, it's like guys that go to away games, you know, don't really appreciate Rangers. It's a bit like that, you know. Boys in my class, oh, he's into battle. What kind of guns were they carrying? You know, what was were the Germans? Was it the MG42 machine gun the Germans were shooting at them, or was it an MG34? Well, did it have round bits in the barrel, or was it wee kind of elongated, almost squarish types of holes to cool down? But you don't know. You don't know why do you get to watch these programs? You don't even appreciate them. You know, so that used to be on, but I think the main thing on a Friday night used to be it was Starsky and Hutch. If you wanted classic, my era as a kid, Friday night TV, it was Starsky and Hutch. That's not the theme tune, but it was like that. And sometimes I must have been just at an age I was just getting old enough that I could possibly stay up and watch it. Starsky and Hutch on a Friday night. I remember plenty of times like being in my bed and being heartbroken because you could hear the theme tune, you know, in the living room, you know, but you weren't allowed to, you know, oh, can I go up for the toilet? I just need to peek in the living room and don't get your fucking bed. And that's happy memories, Starsky and Hutch. And Starsky and Hutch, the thing with Starsky and Hutch is it was the first kind of TV involvement for a young director back then called Michael Mann. Michael Mann did a few, he went on to do Miami Vice, the TV series, and he eventually did this film called Heat in 1995. He got his LA crime saga. Heat. I don't know if you've seen it at all. It's Al Pacino plays is it Vincent Hanna. He's the cop, and he's got his team of robbery homicides, and they're after this brilliant crew. Drop of a hat, these guys will rock and roll. The shape charge means they are technically proficient. You know, they had our time, had our air, mobilised it because they were on a clock. You know, and they left the loose change because they were on a clock. It's great stuff. And that's Robert De Niro. He's Neil McCauley. He's the master criminal, and they're chasing each other, kind of cat and mouse. Two sides of the same coin, two different sides of the same coin. But Michael Mann went on to do that after doing Miami Vice, and you think you get to the point you've learned because he did LA Takedown as well, and all the episodes of Miami Vice, the TV series, and he was doing his own films as well. The Keep, the thing with Mile, the Jericho Mile, the prison movie about a guy who's training to run in the Olympics, but he's in jail at times, so he's beating all these world records while he's in the joint. He's making all these kind of films. Michael Thief, obviously with James Caan, a lot of stuff that's in Heat is in there. Since I'm starting to work with, he's worked with real criminals, guys who've done real criminals his whole life. Michael Mann, and eventually gets to do Heat, and Heat is just the best way to explain Heat is the best meet cute in movie history. All the meet cutes you can think of, the meet cute and Heat. It's Neil McCauley, Robert De Niro, and he meets Edie, who's played by Amy Brenneman, and she kind of fancies him because she works in Hennessy and Engels, the bookstore, and he goes into the bookstore. I've seen the bookstore from time to time, you know, what bookstore? You know, Hennessy and Engels, I work there. And he just happens to sit next to her in this coffee place. She kind of fancies him because she sees him coming in with his three-piece suits on, and he's always in the technical department getting a book about metal, so with stress fractures and titanium. What kind of work is it he doing? He's like, really, lady, why are you so interested in what I read or what I do? Because, of course, he's a master criminal. And this woman, she could be, could be a honey trap or something like that. She could be an undercover detective, and she's there to chat him up. But just happens to have randomly been sat next to her in the fancy wee kind of restaurant that they're going to have a coffee. And she's like, "Oh, sorry, if you don't want to talk to me, I understand." And he realises, no, she's genuinely just wanting to talk to me. And by the way, she's pretty hot as well. She seems really nice, and they just start chatting because the two of them are lonely. You know, I am alone. I'm not lonely. He is lonely. He needs her. But that's the line. So it's the greatest meet cute in movie history, and then you get the greatest punch. For me, the greatest punch in movie history, and this is Robert De Niro, of course, who's in Raging Bull. It was trained by Jake LaMotta to be Jake LaMotta in the film Raging Bull, but had a few professional bouts. So when he delivers that punch outside the Billy Big Boy's diner, or whatever it's called, it's the same diner they use in the Limp Bizkit. They're in the video. The video was actually the theme tune for one of the Mission Impossible films, and it's the same diner they use as in Heat. It's changed ownership at the time. It's kind of googie architecture, and it's fantastic looking diner. If I ever go to LA, that's the next big one. I've got to go to LA. As soon as I get rid of Trump, I'll go over to LA. Although they got Gavin Newsom in there just now, but they got in there, and that's it. When they come out of there, they're going to. The idea is they're supposed to be settling up with Wayne Grove, but he'd killed the security guards. Anyway, Dino turns around and just he punches him because he just wants to wind him to then get him on the ground and execute him, and they're going to get rid of his body because he's a bad criminal. They're good criminals, but he's a bad criminal. It's made them do bad things they didn't want to do. They just want to rob stuff. He's made them have to murder innocent folk. So they turns around, just this the dull kind of thwack, that thud, and the way he spins around and just it's really believable. It's probably the best punch in movie history. The best summation of what it is to love as a idiot bloke, to love a woman just totally helplessly. That, for me, the sun rises and sets where, man. Val Kilmer's line when he's talking to Neil, when Neil's like still in the zone of, don't attach yourself to anything you cannot walk out on in 30 seconds flat, when you feel the heat's going to be on the television, when you feel the heat coming round the corner, and he just answers him by saying, talking about his wife, Charlene Shahirlis, played by Ashley Judd. She's phenomenal in that film. For me, the sun rises and sets with her, man. Yeah. Okay, we'll factor that in then. That's fine, mate. And Neil's just starting to understand that because he's met Edie. Also, talking of Charlene Shahirlis, played by Ashley Judd, the moment where she's got to tell Valkyrie, plot spoiler later on, spoiler alert, sorry, that he's going to beat it. He's been set up. There's actually hunters of Polis in the house waiting to pounce on him. They've set a trap for him. They're using her as the bait, and he's outside thinking something's up. He's looking up at her, just thinking, God, you're the most beautiful woman in the world. I love you so much. And she just gives it the old croupier sign, no croupier hand gesture, no. You're out. And he realises he's got to kind of act fast and kid on. He was just eyeing up a bird, so to speak. He's just a bit of a creepy guy. From the Polish stop him. He's got a fake name and that. And he gets away. But that moment she goes back in and she's like, no, it's not him. It's just some guy that's checking me out or whatever. It's not him. And the Polish like, is that not him? Does that no? Just he said his hair cut and all that kind of thing. But she goes back in and she sits down in the sofa and they're like, oh, can I get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea while you wait? Nah, that'd be nice, And then the camera closes in on her. Dante Spinotti's photography, cinematography as well. You've never seen a movie, you've never seen a city looking like this before, but it closes in her face, and the way she goes from beautiful gangsters mall to suddenly a woman, a single mother. She's going to be a single mother for the rest of her life. The tragedy and the hassle and the worry and the danger that it brings to her being married to a guy like this, a career criminal. Suddenly all that comes into her face, and she just goes from being this young, beautiful woman to being a hardened, beat down, battered victim of love. Somebody who can't help loving something that just repeatedly lets them down. That's a beautiful scene. And there's also the best ever. That's the first bit. I think that might actually beat De Niro. I think we've got to give that to Ashley Judd when it comes to face. That'd be the two best instances in heat of face acting, just facial acting. Nothing to do with no dialogue. Just what's been said. Just put the face close up in the face. I think when De Niro's driving through the tunnel and he's on the way to the airport, he's got away with it. The bank robbery went to shit, but he's still got the money, and he's going to go and set up his new life with Edie, and she's in the car with him. Amy Bremen's in the car, and that's also one of the greatest. It's the greatest explanation of love ever given in a movie is where they're driving along the Palisades in LA, and he's got to pull over because he's basically. Edie finds out he's a murdering bank robber. It's a murdering bank robber that she's in love with. This is just, oh my God, how did this happen? She tries to run away from him and all that, and he says, no, you can't run away. And he's just going to grab. But he wants her to come from her own free will, and he just pulls over because he's got the plane set up. He's out. It's been set up. He's going to New Zealand with the money to live the rest of his life, and he just says to her, I don't know much because he's been in the joint for most of his life, and. What is he? He says, I don't know much. I'm not very good. Basically, I'm not very good at these kind of things. There's no time is luck. Whatever time you get is luck. Life is short. Whatever time you get is luck. And it's just I just don't want to go anywhere anymore if it's no with you. And she just melts. I just melt. We all melt. And it's like, aye, okay, fuck it. You mad bastard. What you like shooting security guards in the face and stuff like that? You are some guy. Now, that's enough though. No putting up that for much longer. So I will go to New Zealand with you and away they go. And it's just, he's set up and he's driving through the tunnel and it's all the beautiful lighting. Again, the really harsh light. And he gets the phone call from Nate saying, it's in the hotel marquee under Jameson. Waingro, the guy that set him up, and did horrific things to some of his pals and their family, people that he loves. But he's got to get out there 30 seconds flat. Feels a heat around the cut. But no, he wants revenge. He wants to get Waingro. And Nate phones him up and tells him, well, he's in the hotel marquee under Jameson. That's what he is. That's what he's been. If you're but not that I think you give a shit anymore. Aye, you figured right. I'm home free. That's just leave that. Get out of here. But he can't. He needs to go and get Waingro. And he's driving along and he's doing that thing. You can see him wrestling with the conflict. Right, that's that. I've got the love of my life. We've got all the money. We've got an out laid on. We're going to New Zealand. It's going to be good. That bastard. I need to get that bastard. I need to get him for what he did to my pals. And it's that kind of, everyone's fine. Everyone's fine. And he just veers off to if you've got something you want to get revenge about, if you've got something, it's very hard to resist. Attempt to, like European football was the glamour. That's gone to New Zealand, even though it's, obviously it's Oceania, but European football, that's the glorious stuff, the beautiful stuff. You're home free, I got to European finals and all that, but he just Celtic fans, we win the league, we keep winning the league, though, we win the league with all the shite fit was played, you just can't play shite fit, but we're better than shite, and you just fucking right, just veer off course to get the bastards, and then you end up getting iced, and you lose everything because you took a wrong turn. What's all the best things that happened? Well, obviously the shootout, the shootout. I think I saw Heat. I think the first time I saw Heat, the old ABC in Sauchiehall Hall Street. I think it was a Friday. I think it was a Friday afternoon, definitely an afternoon. I think it was a Friday there. And the last year was when we went to see it. She worked in television and. Went to the bar afterwards over the roads at the big corner. Was it Shenanigans? It was called the big corner bar. It's still there, I don't know. And in there and get a few drinks in just to discuss I'm like, that shootout, that bank shootout. Oh my god, that must have been real bullets they were using. She's like, no, that would go in post production. But it was real bullets they were using. It was one of the first times that had ever been done. She was just putting all the gunfire in post-production, really made it resonate, and it was phenomenal shootout, phenomenal bank robbery gone wrong, phenomenal shootout. That's the best in movie history. There's a few other bests in movie history in Heat, but really that should do us, folks. First one of the season, first game of the season. Already try to get rid of all the tourists, so the people will suddenly get wanting to watch my podcast because Rangers had a wee slip up. How you doing? This is your fat egg Rangers have for the immediate post. Rangers have for the fourth league season on the trot, failed to win their opening game. Rangers have for the sixth season on the trot, started with a brand new fifth season the trot, brand new manager, and it's their seventh new manager, if you want to throw Barry Ferguson in there, since we had one who won the league title. Reaction Pod coming to you in association with Jersnet. Check out Jersnet. I don't know if Jersnet's on tonight or whatever, but there'll be plenty of reaction. It certainly there was a preview pod on Thursday night, and the boys will probably be with you on Sunday night, 9:30 live on the Jersnet YouTube channel. I'm sponsored by that, and I'm also sponsored by Shite Shifters. I mean, you can't not be sponsored by Shite Shifters. It's fair play to analog advertising holding out all the LED stuff and all that, and all these kind of online campaigns, Twitter and TikTok, Insta, the various things that they do, the micro advertise. They just get a big yellow placard with the word Shite Shifters right along the front of it in red writing, and there's a wee jobby peeking out between the letters. It's not better advertising for drainage services, Shite Shifters, and of course at a football stadium that's going to get used endlessly. In it, there'll be wry comments that are sardonic humour being used in the old terraces that don't exist anymore. But although, I mean, Tannadice, actually where it's placed, was one of the best terraces of all time. Tannadice, I miss it dearly. But that's the shite shifters, and that's what Rangers are trying to do. We're trying to shift the shite, aren't we? We are trying to shift the shite of not winning the league at one point, and we're basically all we're doing. We're just shifting. We're not clearing it out. We're just shifting it onto the next guy, shifting it onto the next guy. But why do we keep drawing the first game of the season? Why do we keep drawing the first game of the season? It's just not good enough. What something's got to be done about it. It's different board, different managers every time. You just maybe just have to start again. Just have to start again. Eventually the shite is just going to get shifted onto the supporters. It will be our fault because it's us that keeps demanding all this constant level of change, and it never really works out in terms of the first day of the season, but it is early doors. My name's Alec Anderson. Either I'm nice on the eye, or this person who's passing me by's never seen one like me before. We endure a draw. We endured a draw against Dundee United tonight. We endured a draw against Motherwell, first league game of last season. We endured a draw at Tynecastle, first league game of the season before that. We endured a 1-0 loss at Kilmarnock, probably the worst Rangers game I've ever seen in my life. In Kilmarnock were horrendous as well, but they only had one touch of the ball in our box, and in it went into the back of the net. It's just the way things are going for Rangers these days. And it was before that, it was Giovanni Van Bronckhorst at the start of 2022-2023 season. The man had just taken us to a European final, so obviously you give him one whole season, don't you? And he won away at Livingston. We're a goal down. Newbley scored for Livingston early on. It was a couple of goals in a couple of minutes for Scotty Arfield, who's from Livingston, and ended up being manager at Livingston. And what's this guy? Who's the guy who got the other goal? It's number 2 jersey, James Tavernier. He scored last season as well against Motherwell at Fir Park. Even though we drew that game, we wanted everybody sacked straight after that, and so did the manager. Russell Martin wanted half of his team sacked as well. He announced that afterwards, and we'd announced beforehand that we wanted him sacked, and that was the excuse to just go in on him. I wonder if the same thing. Are we getting the banners made up for Derek McInnes? Are we getting the targets and the banners and all that? We're going to have a protest. We're going to throw the tennis balls on for Derek McInnes. No, because he's one of us, isn't he? He's the kind of guy we want. He's not got any fancy ideas. He's got the kind of fucking shite we watched tonight. Yeah, that's what we want. Back to the 80s. So, yeah, my name's Alec Anderson, and I am talking to you after watching Rangers on Sky Sports drawn 1-1 with Dundee United in our opening game of the 2026-2027 SPFL Premiership. I just watched that through the room through there on my Samsung. My Samsung telly. Sorry, it's just Spot, as we call it. That'll be that Samsung telly's last game. It's I didn't put my foot through it, and I mean, come on, if I was going to put my foot through tellies, I'll be getting a new one every couple of weeks. Watching Rangers over the past few years, it's quite the opposite. It's because I'm loyal to my televisions. I love them so much. My Samsung there, it's away, it's gone. It's the spot, the things that formed on the screens, the white spots that mean the actual tube. You nickname it the tube. The telly, it's the tubes behind the screen are going. They're actually popping. It's so old. I just can't get rid of it at all. But I've the last count, I think there was 14 of these white spot things starting. So it's kind of it's a kind of variation on the ring of the Japanese thing. It's just the more horrors I watch with Rangers, the more white rings are appearing behind what's on the television screen. Basically can't see stuff anymore, and it's the change when the ball is getting kicked. I watch a lot of football, mostly football, on that telly, and the ball's getting booted. Sometimes I can't see it going in the back of the net because the change and the white dot. I don't know if you've got this on an old telly. The white dots, it's like a wee spotlight, so it's brighter in that part of the screen. So if it's a white ball that's getting used, you lose sight of it. Sometimes maybe that's what happened to us with Dundee United's goal, because somebody lost sight of something fairly obvious in the build up to that. But we went into John Lewis the day, we went into town, because it's the only place we could think of. You can go and pick one up at Tesco, Maryhill. I think you go and pick one up at Aasgaard in Govan, but the only place that we need to see them, we need to have a look at them, because I don't know the technical stuff. I want one of the tellies. When I watch stuff on Sky, Prime, the European stuff that's on Amazon Prime, my picture looks absolutely horrendous. It looks like it's not even like SD, the thing you had before HD, it looks like a newsreel, almost an old colour newsreel. It's bereft of all kind of presence and immediacy. So there's obviously something on there, like there's been developments in film that have bypassed the television we've actually got. So we knew we were going to have to get rid of it at some point, but it just can't be asked. But then that kind of thing's far too technical. So went in. I know John Lewis has got a TV department. You just go in there, and sometimes you can pick stuff up. We've been like got a lamp once in John Lewis in the tune. You just go down. Oh, take that, please. Just go to the motorways. You can just go down and take. Because in the car park, you can park right in next to it, and you can go down to the ground floor. It's the bit where you pick up stuff. And we eventually got to tell you, I don't know, is it HDR or Super HD, Ultra HD, Ultra, and that kind of stuff. Just watching all the various tellies. And a couple of pals and that, I've got tellies, you're watching stuff, and you're going, God, it's like even like Midsummer, 1990s episodes of Midsummer, but when John Nettles is still in it, looks like it's in 3D, he's coming through the screen towards you, kind of thing. And I'm thinking, that must be, that's a kind of telly, want that kind of telly, just never bother looking up what kind of telly that is, but we went to this holiday home, and I like to talk about the game. So we got a new telly, and said to the guys, that's fine, mate. And this feeling a bit, I'm going to have to get rid of spots and other stuff. The same breed, we're going with the same breed, a nice breed. And this one will be a lot younger, a lot livelier, but it's just not going to be the same. You can so many times you can replace them before you just give up. But we got a new telly, and I said to the fellas, that's fine. So can I just take it away? Just go and pick it up, doing it the thing. Oh, see if we've got this one in stock. Fuck. No, we'll have to deliver it to you. So I just come in and get. Where's this? We've got to do click and collect or whatever. You can come and get it tomorrow or sometime after 3 o'clock. I was planning to have started drinking by then because I'm going to miss it drinking on Friday night. But that's fine. Just to be feeling. Oh, we actually don't have that one available for click and click. We can only deliver it to you, so it's going to be like Tuesday, and you have to send you a time that we're going to be. So that was the first sign that things were going to go. And I saw Ian Ferguson, who obviously had played for Rangers and Dundee United, as well as Hearts and Motherwell and stuff like that. Saw him in the way out the place. I was a good sign. And I had fish from a tea fish on a Friday, you know what I mean? It's just Rangers and Celtic. There's a whole kind of sectarian thing going on there. So I had fish. And I think it's because I'd set myself up with pork chops for Sunday and the chicken for Saturday, and I was struggling to get some. So I just got, I like a bit of fish, so I got that. And then it turned out my wife, she'd bought this bit of salmon that she wasn't going to get to use, and it was going to go off. It was going to the moor. So she actually picked that one for me. So 20 minutes, this big lump of salmon. She picked that one for me while I was watching the game. It's old school. It's like back to the 70s, reminding you. I could tell her she brought it through to me while the game was on. So basically, I have a double fish on a Friday. I don't know if that's why it's what's happened with Rangers. But my name's Alec Anderson. I'm talking to you after Rangers drew 1-1 with Dundee United. Take it off to a really bad start. It's not as bad as getting beat. Apparently, draws, that's how they work. You don't get beat, but you don't win either. And then it started. Watching Chris McLaughlin on Reporting Scotland, and he's sitting there with Michael Grant. And oh God, what's the fella? He's a nice fella, good fella. I like him. Oh, I think he actually follows me on Twitter. What's his name? Oh, that's terrible. The fella, there was 3 of them anyway, sitting down the week in the sports bit, the 5-minute sports bit on Reporting Scotland, saying they were going to preview. They go, what's that guy called? That's terrible. Oh, the Alzheimer's definitely kicking in. And they were saying, Rangers, what do you think? Oh, well, they've decided to just, and it was actually Chris McLaughlin who says, it's like Rangers have decided to go backwards, take a step backwards, because they've been set up to win in Europe. Now they're set up to win, and that's what I'd said in my preview pod last night. I kind of tried to say, well, that's the whole attitude. I've said it many a time when we're talking about Derek McInnes coming in and being welcomed by the Rangers support at large. It's like we've decided, we're sick of Europe because Europe's stopping us win the league. And I'm always wary of that because it's... And then Chris Boyd's on Sky Sports in the build-up to the game, and he's saying, it's really Rangers trying to play this good fitba, this kind of modern European style fitba. No, you go to do the meat and 2 veg. I don't know how he was wording it, but basically, and you get shite shifters signed. Everybody was just saying Rangers should play shite, and then Derek McInnes comes out doing his pre-match presser in the tunnel at Tannadice, and he's saying, we've got to, we don't want to get the game the wrong way round. I don't know if that was something to do with you're trying to win the game too much before you've sorted out the defending, or I don't know if it was the pace. I don't really know the exact wording, but he was basically saying, we've got to become better at being shite, at winning when we're playing shite, at winning when we're playing rubbish. That's what Rangers can't do, and that's fine. I get that. I totally get. Yeah, that is how you do win leagues. But are we aiming to play shite? Because we did tonight, and it didn't work. We didn't get the 3 points, and it is. It's just early doors. As I was also trying to say in my preview pod last night, it's a reset. It is a reset. It's going to. Everybody feeling because Derek McInnes finished second, was minutes away from winning the title as Hearts manager, and it finished second as Aberdeen manager, and got Aberdeen to all sorts of cup finals that they lost, except that League Cup final against Inverness, which they won at Parkhead. Funnily enough, and then he comes to Rangers, more resources, and he's played for Rangers, and he'd played under Walter Smith, and it's like, I think we want it so much. We keep talking about what we want. What we want to go back to as opposed to what we want to go forward, what we want to go towards. It's what we want to go back to, and you can't go back. And Derek McInnes in a little kind of piece during the build-up to the game tonight on Sky, he's been interviewed at Ibrox, he's in the manager's office, and they're showing you pictures of Souness and John Gregg and Jock Wallace and all that. He's saying that's the kind of guy, and he was getting raised. His dad was telling him stories of these managers when he was a boy, and same here, we all heard all these stories when we were kids. I'm a bit older than Derek McInnes, but no too much. You're thinking, well, John Gregg, was fantastic in Europe. Or he got to the quarterfinals of European Cup, some great results in Europe, and he won his Scottish Cup and League Cup, but he couldn't win. He couldn't win the league as manager, John Gregg. And Jock Wallace, the second spell, he's come in. If you're younger than me, that you'll remember the second spell. Jock he won the League Cup a couple of times, but he couldn't win the league. Nowhere near winning his league or even a Scottish Cup. His second time there, he won a couple of trebles, another league title. The first time it was Rangers manager Jock Wallace. But Graham Souness, that is definitely one to look up to, what he did as Rangers manager. But I don't feel Derek McInnes is that kind of person. I don't feel it's that. And in his post-match interview, he started a sentence with I'm not convinced, but people will give me a hard time for sticking by, defending Russell Martin last season when I was just saying, suck it and see. We have to make sure he's definitely not good enough. This plan he's got definitely isn't going to work before we get rid of him. It's not about, he's won 10 games in a row. I love that manager. Well, yeah, we all love the kind of managers. The idea sometimes is, if we're having a revolution at the club, and we're having a revolution every season, sometimes we're having revolutions in the middle of the season. If we're changing everything, it's going to take to be able to win on all fronts. There should be. That's the backwards thing. That's when I'm ready for results to go backwards. As long as long term, it all comes together. The plan eventually starts working, and that's what we're doing under Derek McInnes. But I don't know if Derek McInnes is actually trying to find a kind of 1980s style of play. Listen, he got really close with Hearts last season to win the title. The guy's, no doubt, he's a very good manager. But I'm going to. So I was sticking up for not sacking Russell Martin as quickly as possible last season, and then that game at Falkirk, even though we were winning at half-time in that game at Falkirk, the game he did actually get sacked after. I thought, that's it, right? It's not going to work. On the sliding scale of patience and seeing zero signs of improvement, it's not going to work under Russell Martin. It's time for him to go. And he went. He didn't go any... 123 days he had in charge. Didn't he go any quicker or any slower than he should have. It was perfectly balanced. But the hysteria started with his first setback, which was a draw away from home to a team with a brand new manager who played us off the park in the second half. Did Jens Bertel Aasgaard's Motherwell at Fir Park last season. This time we'd gone a goal up in the first half and shown some nice signs, some nice hints of stuff. Second half we did well to only concede one goal, and Russell Martin then lays into his players as if he was trying to get rid of the old guard, which I thought was a great move. I thought that was absolutely fine. He's waited until they've legitimately slipped up and he's just unleashed on them. Whereas Derek McInnes is being praised for we wanted rid of James Tavernier. He was hounded out by the supporters, and when he does leave, we decided it was unfair the way he went, and so the old guard is leaving. It is Offski. There's no Jack Butland either. These guys are all away. Derek McInnes is in, and he goes behind in this game tonight and ends up having to equalise. We could quite easily have lost the game. A draw was on balance. I don't like that thing of it was fair, it was deserved, whatever. It was a draw type of game. Dundee United did not play us off the park, but they had a really good chance to win the game, as did we towards the end as well. If Youssef Chermiti could square the ball instead of having a shot himself. But are we all going to start getting the flags? Are we going to start protests for Derek McInnes? I don't know. I'm still a bit bitter about the way things went last season. But I will stick by Derek McInnes until it's patently clear that that's not working. But I think that will take longer. There's a lot more faith with Derek McInnes. He would probably get to December before he's sacked if it's just no working. But we have invested a lot with Derek McInnes in getting rid of various types of players who might be too modern, who might be too kind of European oriented. We might win stuff and you may end up doing well in European competition. We don't want that. That's not what we want anymore. So we started the game tonight. Quite surprising. In the end up, I think it was a 4-2-3-1. Pander in goals. The back four are predicted. It was Dujon Sterling at fullback. Apparently, Ross McCrory has got a slight knee problem. The manager was confirming later on tonight. So maybe that's why Dujon Sterling's in there at right back. But I would prefer Dujon Sterling to most defenders if he's fit. It was Ben Godfrey and Big Manny Fernandez as your centre halves, and two Romans at left back. No, I'd gone bold and say we're going to play Vanja Dragojevic, who's just arrived from Partizan Belgrade, but he has just arrived, so he was on the bench, and we had Cammy Devlin, and I think the 4-2-3-1 was Cammy Devlin and Mo Diamandi sitting in midfield, and the three on the left-hand side, it was JD Gassama, who I did not expect to see. I did not expect to see Gassama starting at all, but there he was. He was on the left-hand side, and I think Tello Aasgaard was a kind of 10 position, but more of minister without portfolio, just roving about behind the one striker, the out-and-out striker, Lauren Shanklin, the captain. And on the right-hand side, I'm sure he was playing to the right, although he's drifting up to become a twin striker at times, is Ryan Nadiri, which meant Dan Neil and Youssef Chermiti were both on the bench. The new signing, newly arrived from Philadelphia Union, Macania, another centre-half, he was on the bench as well. He's in the squad. Finlay Curtis remained on the bench. Tochi Chukwani remains on the bench as well. I'm just listing the people that we might expect to see perhaps starting the game. But I think it was a 4-2-3-1. We started in Dundee United seemed to be wearing Harrington jackets as they come up the tunnel. Our new captain, Lauren Shankland, he's basically kind of getting squeezed up out of the tunnel, almost like he's been reborn as the player he always wanted to be, being the Rangers captain. There he is, he's right up the top. Beautiful sunny night, it was sunny and beautiful. Last night of July, absolutely gorgeous weather. The high cameras floating over, the drone cameras floating over Tannadice, showing a beautiful sight there. Both supports putting on the tifos, and out came the players onto the pitch. Nick Walsh refereeing just to ensure that Mo Diamandi knows any chance to send him off will be taken and will be doubled down on despite VAR. So we started energetically. We could see why the first 5-10 minutes. You could see why JD Gassama was playing. He was very energetic. He was certainly going for it down the old left-hand side, try to get the ball across. The manager later said, this is what we need. We need more width. We need more creativity. We're going to have to sign a few players, and it is an ongoing development of the team. It is a work in progress. It's the transfer window ends at the end of the month that you're probably now watching this post-match reaction in August. It ends in a month's time, and we will have... At first I was wondering if Youssef Chermiti was perhaps involved in transfer. Nadeem Bajrami, who scored our equaliser from the penalty spot in the 9th minute of injury time, the 10th minute of injury time, the last time he came to Tannadice, he was off ski. He's away to Saudi Arabia. Apparently he's away to the Saudi government that buys these guys, isn't it? The Saudi Pro League is just the Saudi Arabian sports washing. So he's off to Saudi Arabia. Apparently, I don't know if it's completely done and dusted, but I was starting to wonder if Youssef Chermiti was perhaps involved, and there's been a late bid for him, and that's why he wasn't starting the game tonight. I expect to see him starting Ryan Ndiri, I saw him against Cincinnati, and I wasn't at the West Ham friendly. Didn't seem to be doing anything that spectacular. In fact, I think he seemed less spectacular than he was last season. But it's just pre-season. But I was quite surprised to see Ndiri starting, and it seemed to be working. We seem to be. I'm trying to figure out, is it a 4-4-2 we're playing? Is it a 4-2-3-1? I'm not really sure. But Cammy Devlin's going to be kind of fouling folk and getting away with it, and playing some nice balls forward. Mo Diamandi seemed really active. He's all over the place. Stella Aasgaard's roaming about, causing problems, looking quite threatening. Of course, Lawrence Shankland, he's the man. He knows how to lead the line as well. He's doing his bits, putting himself in there. And I was like, yeah, we're playing really well. I think this is energetic. I can see what we're trying to do. It's a bit rusty, but there's a real... And in his pre-match statement as well, his pre-match interview, Derek McInnes was talking about we need to scoot out there and make sure, get right in about it straight for the word go. I'm paraphrasing here, but it was something along those lines. Need to be aware, need to be up for it. We can't be chasing the game. It's going to be a battle. We need to take that battle to Dundee United as much as they take it. Just this kind of stuff he was saying. I thought that's fine, and the players seemed to have responded to that. I thought this is good. It's basically the same emotions I was going through watching Russell Martin's first league game in charge at Fir Park last season. Yeah, I can see what we're trying to do. Yeah. This seems fine. And then you realise about 20 minutes had gone, and we'd had more pressure than Dundee United, but it amounted to Ryan Ndiri had a header that he got to where he couldn't get full momentum, full purchase on the old header, to quote a Jock Brownism, and it looked like it might be going in at the far bottom corner, but it wasn't fast enough. The goalie got to it quite easily. There was a little kind of back flick in the first couple of minutes from kind of back heel flick on the turn towards goal from Lawrence Shankland, from Captain Shanks. It wasn't going to threaten at all. There was something else. Somebody else had a kind of thing. Oh, aye, Dujon Sterling, he's pushing in from right back, not overlapping to quite the same extent as Tab, but then who does? But he got himself up towards the end of the box and had a wee slash at it. Just went past the far post, did Dujon, and that was kind of it. You thought, no, we're not actually really working their goalkeeper, but we seemed pretty busy. The defence seemed to be getting by without me really seeing how they were managing to do that. Dundee United were pretty poor as well with their execution, but the manager explained this quite well. Derek McInnes was saying after the game how Dundee United were just throwing guys forward to push our back line, to take their front line forward, to basically pitch their tent occasionally in our box to stop us running over the top of them. And they were doing it by just making sure the front players just ran forward, even if they didn't know where the ball was, which kind of explained how it looked very, very untidy. This was not a good game of football. At all, from either team. So, but at one point, I don't know what the hell happened. It was at 38 minutes. There is a ball gets played forward to about 10 yards outside our box. Dundee United player who's back to goal is obviously going to get there. So, Manny Fernandez, he comes running out right outside his box. Is it good centre half stuff, or is he selling himself and selling the rest of the defence? I don't know, but he comes right out there. Can't quite make the tackle, but he does get some sort of contact that then Thello Aasgaard, who's coming back and he's so close to his own goal, he probably isn't really arsed about what he's doing because he's really just interested in attacking. The ball comes off him. He's facing his own goal, but he's right on top of this guy as Fernandez tackles him. So I think the ball bounces off. Thello Aasgaard. And Dundee United are in. There's a massive gap in our defence left by the massive Manny Fernandez. And then two Romans kind of get there in time to cut. It's kind of down the right-hand side. Down the right-hand side for United of our box, the inside right channel for them, the left-hand side for us. Romans kind of get there. The ball gets a half-arse ball that goes across the 6-yard box. Ben Godfrey kind of get there. He's kind of mixed up positionally with Dujon Sterling. They can't decide who should be going for the ball. Dujon Sterling kind of gets there far too late as well. Ivan Pander is stuck in no man's land. The goalkeeper, he kind of comes out, and the fella, is it Rose, his name is, Australian international, he puts his foot out. He doesn't even mean to put the ball into the back of the net. Basically the ball's dummied by somebody, and that takes Ben Godfrey out of the equation, and this guy Rose gets to the ball before Dujon Sterling or Ivan Pander, our goalkeeper, can come out and get to it. But he's trying to control it, and he thinks he's miscontrolled it, and he kind of, I've got to touch that, but it hasn't worked. but he's trundling the ball to the wall. It's like a Gerd Muller finish. It'd be a perfect finish if he meant it. It'd be really quite iconic, but it's just trundling towards the bottom corner. And I thought, we're not going to get to that. We're not going to get to that. And my Samsung telly, just one of the spots behind the screen, just highlighted the bit where the ball just rolled over the line into the back of the net. And the fella tried to make out that he meant it, but we couldn't stop him. That's more humiliating for us, where Dundee United don't even really know what they're doing except just getting the ball in the general direction of our goal, and that's enough. And it's 1-0 to Dundee United at half time. We come into half time. 2 substitutions straight away. Is this on Derek McInnes? Has he made the wrong choices there? But he brings on Youssef Chermiti nominally for Ryan Nadiri, and he also brings on Dan Neil for JD Gassama. So Gass had a few runs, and he hit the byline a couple of times and seemed to be cutting it back. I don't know if he's making the wrong choices or there's nobody anticipating what he's going to do. And then towards the end of the first half, when we're 1-0 down, he had a wee run inside and he takes a flap at it. He looks like he's filled out a bit. Gass, he looks like he's filled out a wee bit. He's one of the players you can never make up your mind if he's going to be sold or if he's going to be here and become a superstar. He's definitely shown capabilities, but we need players who are going to play 7 out of 10 every week. I think Derek McInnes would take a team that's going to play 6.5 out of 10 every week and win the title by 3 points or something like that. He just can't perform regularly enough. Gassama, off he goes, and Dan Neil comes on. So I think what happens is Mo Diamandi moves up further into midfield. Dan Neil is nominally sitting alongside Cammy Devlin now in the 2. I think we went 4-2-3-1 again, where it's actually Big Chermiti who's playing wide with, again, Lawrence Shankland in the middle. He's playing kind of off the striker. Maybe becomes a 4. Maybe it's 4-4-2. But the time the second half started, I don't really know, because we really went for it. But a lot more energy. Dan Neil was giving us a lot more precision as well. He gets booked within about 2 minutes of the start of the second half. We upped the ante. It's a bit confusing as well because we're now shooting towards what used to be the away end. But the shed was always the famous Dundee United shed. Was the famous home end at Tannadice, but it's now, of course, for decades it's been the away fans will get that. So we're shooting towards the wrong ends each half, if you like. But Rangers are definitely had a few chances early doors, looking a bit more threatening. Aasgaard had a shot that their goalkeeper did well to save, and then it was at 56 minutes. This is one thing you have to say. Our first competitive goal of the season is our first league goal of the season, and it comes in minute 56 as we chase title 56. That's, if you want to get hung up on omens and stuff like that, Alec, that's one definitely to take on board. So it's a shy, big Dujon Sterling shies it right up the line, and then it's kind of head tennis, summing up how much an awful game of football this was. It gets headed back by Dundee United, then Dujon Sterling comes back. And Shankland's in there, kind of just putting Dundee United off enough, because he's no tall, Lawrence Shankland, but he's chunky, and he's streetwise, he's strong, he knows what he's doing. He's an old hand. That's why we've got experience. We want players who know the league. I'd rather have players who can just fucking piss all over the league and don't give a shit about how it's played. But never mind. Lawrence Shankland's in there and he gets up with whoever. So the ball gets headed back kind of uncleanly. Let's do John Sterling come back and he heads it back up towards the edge of the United box. And Lawrence Shankland goes up there and he's not big enough, he's not tall enough to win the header, but he puts the guy off. So the ball kind of just falls and bounces to the side, and you suddenly realise every Dundee United player has come right over to that side of the box, the L-shaped Jerry Kerr main stand side of the Dundee United box. So when Tello Aasgaard kind of gets onto the bounce before everybody else, you think if he just pulls this to the side, he's clean through on goal, just at the edge of the box. He controls it with his right, and then he dispatches it with his clear shot on goal, clear view of the goal, and from the edge of the box he just fires this thing, beautiful volley, right over into the far left-hand side of the goal as we're looking at it. One each. Will we build on this? Will we fuck within about 2 seconds? Sorry, bad language. Andy was pulling me up earlier from my bad language last night. Sorry, folks. It's been a long summer. And it was a long night tonight, wasn't it? But Manny Fernandez is a fresh air shot, which leaves... He's the last man and lets Dundee United clean an on goal, but they're almost surprised. They don't know what to do with it. And then about 2 seconds later, Pander comes out to collect the ball at kind of knee heights, and he's just gather it up in his hands. But I don't know if it would have been called back for a foul, if it had ended up going in the net, but it didn't. But he drops the ball with a United player right in front of him. And I think Manny Fernandez comes in to clear it, and he kicks it straight off the back of a prone Dundee United player, and it bounces back into the middle of the box. This is not tidy defending at all. 62 minutes, 63 minutes. Ben Godfrey comes off with a muscle strain, and on comes Ross McCrory. So Ross McCrory is playing at right back, which means we won't cross the halfway line. It's like a big thing saying, Tav's not here. Tav's not here. We're not going to do it. See the right hand side, get used to this. That progressive football you were playing that got you to a European final, and the guy that lifted the 3 major. It didn't do it quickly enough. It's no. We want to go back to like 86, 87 for Rangers. We won the league for the first time in ages, and then 18. That's kind of 80s we want to go back to, and that means you don't have fullbacks overlapping to quite the same extent. And then Lawrence Shankland at one point is a shy. He's a throw in, and it's a throw in to Rangers. It's a new rule now. You've got to get these things taken within 10 seconds when they're awarded. But Shank's like, I'll take that if you don't mind. Towards the cameras, I'm thinking, oh, that's him. He's doing the Tav thing. I'll be taking all the set pieces. I'll be taking the shy, and then he just makes an arse of the throw in. And thank God, because I used to do that all the time. I was terrible. The thing of losing, letting it go above your head. When I used to play Sunday League, I was terrible at throw ins. And Lawrence Shankland did the same thing. He kind of lets the ball spin. The worst ever big Kurt Broadfoot. Remember Kurt Broadfoot? Twice he gave the ball up against Fiorentina in that the second leg, that nerve-jangling second leg, that semi-final. In the UEFA Cup 2007, 2008 over in Florence. A total chess match. Just nothing happening. Both teams being as defensive as anything. 0-0. 0-0 on aggregate as well at that point. And the only time the ball was given away was the 2 times Kurt Broadfoot took a throw in. But there's Lawrence Shankland doing the same thing tonight. I think he was trying to put backspin on it perhaps so that it would bounce back to him and he could volley it into it. But it was a terrible shy, and he's laughing and all that. Don't fucking laugh. Don't laugh. I knew it would get to him. I knew all this captain stuff would get to him. So that was we were terrible. But on comes Ross McCrory. He goes to right back, and Big Dude John Sterling's into centre half. Ben Godfrey goes off in tears, but he goes back onto the bench. It's a muscle strain, or it might be a calf. So it's being assessed, said the manager at the end of the game. Dundee United we had more pressure this point in time. We're winning more corners, but one that really threatening. Youssef Chermiti had the moment where he goes down that channel, that inside forward channel that he likes to go down, then flash the ball across into the opposite corner, whatever. This time he just kicked it straight at the goalkeeper when he had Shankland open, and by this point Finlay Curtis had come on as well. Who did Finlay Curtis come on for? I cannot remember. In fact, I've got the laptop open here. Finlay Curtis came on for Cammy Devlin. Cammy Devlin come off wearing the number 14 jersey of Nadeem Bajrami. So Bajrami must be away officially. Cammy Devlin's got the number 14 jersey. And when he was getting subbed off, Cammy Devlin, and there was a new rule about you have to get off the park in 5 seconds or 10 seconds if you're subbed off. But he shot a run off, and he's shouting encouragement at Finlay Curtis. That's what we want. That's what we want, guys. The right attitude, in a really obvious, animated way. So yeah, we're playing football to match the kit that we're wearing. It's gone back like 40 years. It just wasn't working tonight. We had more pressure. It's Dundee United. Sorry, he hadn't pulled the ball back. He's getting totally bollocked by about 4 different teammates. Was Youssef Chermiti for not pulling that one back, and fair enough. But I thought it was just before that or just after that. Also in the last stages of the game, Dundee United did that thing of making a ball kind of bounce. It happens so often in this game in the midfield area in such a way that our entire midfield and backline are thinking, should I go for that? Or should I just wait and see what happens? But nobody else seems to be going for it. So we all ran towards the ball when it's far too late to get to the ball. And that meant a simple ball over the top, left fella, was it Randall? He's straight through on goal, and he should have scored. Then he tries that kind of, almost a kind of Panenka finish, while the ball's moving, which is straight into the arms of Ivan Pander. So that was an absolute sickener for Dundee United. They could easily have won that game. My prediction was that we would either win 3-0 or get beat 2-1. So I thought, we're going to get beat 2-1, like what I said. But of course, I predict we're going to win or we're going to lose. So it's a draw. That just kind of sums it up. The frustration all round, nothing to be gained from this game except the one measly point. And I say Derek McInnes, he's on the park having a go at Nick Walsh. It's always worth having a go at Nick Walsh, but there was a thing right at the end where we thought we'd won a corner in the 3rd minute of injury time, and it was Mo Diamandi, so maybe it is personal. But from the action replay, from the slow-mo action replay, it was difficult to see if we had actually won a corner or not. And it was past the point of mattering by then. That was what cost us this game. And Derek McInnes comes on and he's shaking hands with United players and that, but he's not shaking hands with his own players. He just get fucking up there and say thanks to the fans, say thanks to the fans. And he goes and has a go at Nick Walsh, who's got to tell him to come. Thinking, why are you having a go at Nick Walsh? And Lawrence Shankland was having a right go at one of the linesmen as well, but it was also really obvious he'd got the decision right. It was a throw in to Dundee United or whatever decision they'd given. So I don't know if it's all performative or this is what we're doing now. We're wanting a bad result so we can prove that we can deal with bad results, because that seems to be the narrative of why Derek McInnes is manager, how we're going to win this league. I'm a bit pissed off with it, folks. I really am, and everybody else is as well. We've got a new manager. It is a reset. We do have to get more players in. McInnes himself was saying after the game that the players weren't taking their time on the ball. They were panicking a bit much. When we had the ball, we were just giving it away again too quickly instead of just stopping, head up. Let's look for options. And that's true. That is a fair assessment. And also we need more creativity in the wings. Luke Shanley then had a wee kind of go at him or a wee dig, saying, this time last season, he managed to get a rise out of Russell Martin, get a big headline out of Russell Martin after that game against Motherwell at Fir Park, when Russell Martin decided to turn round and have a go at the guy who's not there. Again, he played, Nico Raskin played in that game against Motherwell at Fir Park last season, but he soon wasn't in the team. We thought he was leaving at that point. He's just turned up today. He's just arrived today, apparently, Nico Raskin. Making it pretty obvious that he wants to be away. He's expecting to get sold, and I hope he does get sold so we can go out and buy these wingers that we want. This is Derek McInnes was saying that there's a lack of creativity. We need to have wide players as well, so we can get crosses, we can get service in to these strikers. It doesn't matter about having the quality strikers like Chermiti, like Lawrence Shankland in the middle of the park if we don't have people going down the wings to put the ball, 1980s style football, get down the wings, hit that byline, pull it back. If that was a simple game, and it goes apparently. And Shanley was trying to hit. So this time last season, it was the same thing. It was a disappointing draw away from it, and you can see Derek McInnes is trying to eyeball him and look them up and down. No, I'll fucking do you. It wasn't scary at all. So that's I don't know. I'm not going to say I have my doubts. Because it's just I then become the very person that I was slagging last season for laying straight into Russell Martin off back. The cold hard facts are, it's a brand yet again. Rangers have reset yet again. The reason, as a coincidence, you can work it out. Maybe you can look at the data you've got and see what conclusions you can draw. But we haven't won any of our last 4 opening games of the league season, but we've had the last 5 opening games of the league season. It's been a different manager to the previous season. It's a reset. Doesn't matter how we feel we know Derek McInnes as a rival manager, how familiar a face he is, how he knows the club, he's a Rangers supporter and that. It's still a new manager. And it's a new setup again, even the fact that he's manager and not head coach. The directors are constantly changing as well. It's a reset. It's another reset. But of course, we'll need to see something. We need to see positive rewards coming from that reset pretty quickly, or else Derek McInnes will soon find himself, maybe a few months later, but he'll soon find himself getting hounded exactly the same way as Russell Martin, who didn't win any of his first 5, I think, league games last season, but he didn't lose any of them either. It was all draws, and then he'd come up against Derek McInnes and Lawrence Shankland's Hearts. So I think that's the main thing. We just need to hang in there with somebody for more than a season, maybe an entire season. We've not had a manager for an entire season for God knows how long. Rangers have drawn 1 each. It's really disappointing. And that's all I've got to say, folks. I'll be back to talk to you before we go off to Jagiellonia, Bialystok. We're off to Poland at 5 o'clock kick-off our time on Thursday nights in Europe. But, I mean, does anybody even care about that? I mean, Jagiellonia, Bialystok. You see the Dundee United goalkeeper tonight? It was like a Partick Thistle away kit he was wearing. You know, and we've got Alan Archibald on the bench now. He's in the technical area for Rangers, working alongside Derek McInnes. And now we're going to play the Jags. They play in red and yellow as well. Mr. Bialystok, the producers. Sorry, folks. A shite Friday night. I'll wait to watch all the episodes of Starsky and Hutch. Thanks for your time.